There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
This is a clip from the last ever video that 14-year-old Liberty Libby Joyce German happened to record on her cell phone before she and her friend, 13-year-old Abigail, Abby, Rose Lynn Williams went missing and were later discovered in a creek a few miles east of their last known location the very next day. Gone. Abby and Libby were residents of Delphi, Indiana, a small town in a wooded area, and the abandoned Monon High Bridge Trail just so happens to be one of the local attractions nearby. That was where the girls had last been seen wandering, according to a Snapchat photo that they had sent to their friends online. Under unusual circumstances, snapshot photos disappear after being viewed, but one of their friends decided to take a screenshot of the aforementioned picture.
It was a happy photo at first. It was them having a fun day, and I didn't think anything bad of it.
The Monon High Bridge, though dangerous and in a state of disrepair, is an area frequented by the local kids, since the danger forms part of the allure. And on February 13th, 2017, Abby and Libby, after being dropped off at the Hoosier Heartland Highway at 1:35 p.m. by Libby's older sister, Kelsey German, the girls went hiking on the same trail, and at around 2:07 p.m., they posted on Snapchat for the last time ever. At 3:15 p.m., when the girls failed to meet Libby's father when he came by to pick them up, since that's what had been agreed upon earlier, and neither did they respond to his phone calls, the families started to suspect some sort of trouble, but nobody could have foreseen what was about to come.
It just didn't seem like too big of a deal right to begin with. I mean, they were probably all busy with friends and lost track of time, and you just don't worry about it when you're here. It's a small town.
However, as the evening wore on and there was still no trace of either of the girls, the families started to panic, and after their own search for the girls revealed nothing, and they couldn't explain the eerie silence anymore, they decided to call the cops.
Hanging out with friends, partying, met some boys, had all these different excuses. And in the back of my mind, I kept saying that, that's not true. Libby would never do anything like this.
We need to call the police.
It was not just the police who were searching for the two young girls, but the entire community came together and volunteered to be part of the search party.
Hundreds of people were out in that wooded area looking for these girls.
But there were people out searching all over. It was somewhat humbling, know that people were coming out, to truly help.
It was amazing to see how many people, at a drop of a hat, dropped everything that they were doing and came out and searched. There was flashlights everywhere.
Everywhere. It was just like the stars in the sky,
As the search for the girls went on, there was little suspicion of there being foul play involved, and it was being treated as a missing persons case. But that was no longer the case around noon on the next day, February 14th, as the bodies of the two girls were finally discovered on the north bank of the Deer Creek.
Preparing to be able to leave to come up and join the search party. And I was probably 4 or 5 blocks away from the gas station when my phone rang.
The pastor found me and asked if anybody had just come talk to me, and I said no, so we need to go upstairs. And my heart just dropped. And then my girlfriends and coworkers were all just standing visiting. And I said, we found them. And she's like, oh, thank God. And I said, no.
At that moment, I wanted to run across the creek and get to them. I was like, they're alive. I know they are. They have to be. And I knew that they weren't.
When the bodies were discovered, it was evident that there had certainly been a crime, and a quite gruesome and horrific one too, leaving them with slash wounds to their necks. Abby was fully clothed, but in Libby's clothing, and Libby herself was discovered in an exposed state. The clothes that were originally Abby's had been discarded in the nearby river, leading to a most confusing predicament.
The pathologist, it's my understanding, testified that both girls died from deep slash wounds to their throats. It's just horrific. We know that Libby was found naked and there were sticks over her body, and that Abby was wearing Libby's clothes, which I still don't quite understand. I don't know if the state will ever be able to explain that fact, but there was some discussion about whether or not there was a sexual assault of Abby. So can you tell us a little bit about that testimony of both girls, obviously?
Yes, the sexual assault kits that were done on both girls were discussed today, and it was told by the pathologist that there were no visible traumatic injuries that would show sexual assault, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't sexual assault. There were just no visible injuries.
In addition to the confusion already pervading the case, there was also the inexplicable presence of wooden sticks covering the bodies in a seemingly haphazard pattern, giving way to speculations of a pagan ritual, leaving people divided.
Is this random? Is it a pattern? Does all of this amount to anything? Or is it just the work of a tired, desperate killer, maybe trying to hide bodies and then running out of time and leaving them just like that?
And last but not least, in any way whatsoever, the most confounding yet significant piece of evidence was found in the form of an unspent round, a .40 caliber, between the bodies of the girls that later became the key to solving this most horrific case. But there was still a long way to go before the investigators were able to overcome the hurdles that this case presented.
See, this is the path that we go down. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
In this video that was discovered on Libby German's phone, it is quite obvious that they were being followed by a man behind them, and Libby had the wherewithal to take out her phone and start recording secretly, while they tried to keep their distance from the man. Unfortunately, the man's face being partially hidden and the grainy quality of the footage made it difficult to determine who exactly this man was just from the footage itself. But investigators still circulated photos and sketches of this man, later dubbed Bridge Guy by the general public, and even offered a reward for anyone willing to come up and identify this man.
As poor as this picture is, somebody knows. Maybe it's his jeans. Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt. Maybe it's his shirt tail. Maybe it's his posture. Maybe it's the right hand in his pocket. And every person listening, watching, or seeing this in some form, we need you.
And with a significant amount of leads and tips to sift through, mounting pressure from the media and public, and red herrings to mislead the investigators, the case started to lose focus. From Libby's social media account, it was discovered that she had been in touch with an account with the username Anthony Shots in the 24 hours before her disappearance and subsequent demise, and the nature of the account led to some red flags being raised against the account and who was really behind it. Upon further investigation, it was revealed that Keegan Anthony Klein, a grown man pretending to be a youngster, had been attempting to catfish the unsuspecting Libby German, but interestingly, was never named an official suspect. In fact, he vehemently denied having had anything to do with the crime and shifted focus onto his father, even accusing his defense attorney of attempting to sabotage him. While he was never charged in the Delphi case, he was arrested and sentenced to 40 years on separate counts of child exploitation and pornography case.
If you've seen transcripts from my interview, I think it was 2020 with the state police, I mean, if you read that, you can see that they know someone else was involved.
In addition to Klein, the police also investigated Brad Weber, a man who lived near the trail and seemed to be in possession of some quite incriminating evidence against him.
They don't even need to go the pagan route. Why? Because they've already put the focus on an alternative suspect. Brad Weber, no relation, apparently lives near the crime scene, and they said in his garage are sticks. And this is also an individual that apparently has a similar gun or the same gun.
He also seemed to be quite inconsistent regarding the timeline of events, but eventually suspicions of the highest degree seemed to fall on neither of these individuals, but a man named Richard Allen, who had been previously overlooked due to a clerical error in the form of a mislabeled box of tips. After more than 5 years since the crime was originally committed, the cops finally found their suspect in Allen, a former CVS pharmacy technician, and brought him in for questioning on October 13th, 2022.
Thank you. I don't know if I gave you one of my cards. There it is. I think you did. I probably set it down. Oh, it's right there. You're right. Good. So, the reason we wanted to talk to you is about like I said, the Adam Libby case. Okay. And appreciate your time in doing that. And as a formality, before we talk to anybody about these things, I want to make sure you understand you're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? And the door here is open. You can leave at any time.
After some immaterial discussion regarding the route he had taken to get to the trail that day, which Allen spoke at length on, the cops finally started to allude to what and who he had seen on the trail that day.
3 girls. Where was it? You saw the 3 girls? They were up around the trail. I mean, I didn't like interact with them. It was up around the trailhead somewhere. So, but you know,
Allen claimed that he had seen 3 girls, with one of them being slightly older than the other 2, and a couple of cars parked nearby as well.
Because I was walking towards them, and I mean, they obviously stood out. And like I said, I remember it looked like an older girl with 2 younger girls. Okay. Just walking the trail. Okay. And I guess I just assumed that we didn't make a habit of it.
So that car that was in your garage, would that have been what you drove out there that day?
Oh my God. Let me think here. It would have either been that one or our gray Ford 500. We kind of switched vehicles back and forth. It's kind of because I've often.
I mean, you said you put on a jacket and
blue jeans, and I'm sure I put on a jacket because I think it was still fairly cool that day. I don't think it was super warm. I would have put on a jacket. I don't know.
Remember what kind of jacket
Probably
you had
jeans.
back then?
I mean, I've had Carhartt jackets over the years.
Color is your jacket?
The one was blue, the one was black. Probably back then it would have been a black one. It had a hood built into it. So it was just a black zip up. Anyway, I don't even think it was...
And anything else you've been wearing besides like what kind of shoes? I mean, not pretty strange to ask a question like that. But what was, but then I might probably tell you what kind of tennis shoes I had because I usually make them last a very long time.
Well, and I've got shoes that I've had for 10, 12 years probably. It would have been older tennis shoes or I had military boots that I used to wear, but they just don't fit. I've been out of the military forever, so I had some combat boots in my closet that I used to wear occasionally. I don't know if I was still wearing them then or not. I mean, I haven't worn them in years, but could have had a pair of work boots. I don't know. So probably older tennis shoes, but if it was wet out, sometimes I'd wear a boot, like a work boot, or but like I said, the combat boots because they held water out pretty well.
Okay, great.
If I do, it's in a closet somewhere. I'm sure I recycled it by now.
Oh, really?
Because I've had this for... Another one die. They'll tell me.
just went to look at, I don't know, it's been a few years now, several years, not device. It wasn't, I know that since that time, I know I've gotten this phone. I don't remember when. It's not been a super long time, but it wasn't. I've had it long enough that I don't remember when I got it.
The investigators also discussed the clothes and shoes he was wearing that day, the car he had driven, and the specifics of his phone and data plan as well, while he offered slightly vague descriptions. But when the detectives requested to be allowed to thoroughly examine his cell phone, Alan began to hesitate and said that he would like to speak to his wife before agreeing to any of this. Slowly but surely, Alan's seemingly calm demeanor started to fall apart as he got more and more defensive regarding the suspicions against him as the interrogation went on, and he seemed to be positively furious when his psychological well-being was brought into question.
This is all happening. We had time to do all that. Sure. And we've heard that you had some issues, even at one point put a gun in your mouth that you were going to do something to yourself, maybe 3 years or so. Yes. And, you know, look, there's a lot here that we need to get clarified, okay? As you well know, we have pictures of an individual that was on the bridge. And to some great degree, you described that individual as wearing, yourself as wearing blue jeans, a jacket of the same color as that.
It has been, I've been dealing with that for years. It's not something new. It's not something because I went out and girls, now I've got psychological problems. Have I had issues? Did I stick a gun in? I know how a gun works, and I wasn't going to shoot myself that night. It was probably a cry for help that night. You've obviously talked to my wife, so it is what it is.
He also seemed to be pretty upset that his wife and daughter had already been spoken to, and repeatedly expressed his discontentment at this fact.
But I know that you haven't talked to anybody that knows me, has been around me, my family, not my family, that thinks that I may have been involved in this. I wouldn't believe it.
When the investigators brought up the fact that the bridge guy's clothing from the video seemed to match the description of his own clothes that day, he became even more hostile and unwilling to cooperate.
He's wearing the same clothing that you just told us. We just need to know what happened. Why? Sure. I said I was wearing blue jeans. Now, I think blue jeans is a pretty common thing that people wear. And I said I was probably wearing a black or a blue coat. It could have been a Carhartt, a zip-up with a hoodie in it. I've had black ones. I've had a blue one, or a blue one and a black one. I guess, you're taking what I told you I was wearing and saying that that's me. And so the other kind of, in your search, you literally want me to, you want me to say that that's my car? You went from trying to, I don't know what you want to say, get my trust and then slowly lure me into telling you I killed somebody and I'm not going to do it. I don't know.
Eventually, the interview was terminated as Alan walked out, seemingly upset about the turn this had taken, since he believed that the investigators were trying to be accusatory on purpose by questioning him, even though he had been successfully placed on the bridge that day.
Which is what I told you, a black or blue Carhartt coat, blue jeans. Never mind, this is ridiculous. You're trying to tell me that I gave you a description of this guy and I didn't. We all looked at this thing for months and years, and you're an
During the second round of questioning on October 26th, Alan was asked about the most incriminating evidence connecting him to the crime, the bullet.
So, handguns, as you know probably, you may know more about them than I do, I don't know a lot, but they're very specific as far as the characteristics of the gun. So the firing pin is different from your firing pin. The extraction device is different from my extraction device. And they're basically, what the lab has told me is that they're like fingerprints. They're specific to that gun and that gun only. Okay. So we took your gun, your 40 cal SIG, and we sent it down there to the lab to have it matched with an item that we located on February the 14th when we found the girls.
Okay.
And that item was a 40 caliber Winchester round. We found that at the scene.
Okay.
The extraction marks on that round match your gun.
Alan tries to deny any sort of involvement in the case and is evidently quite perturbed and quiet while doing so.
Okay, those are the extraction marks. That's the best picture of them. There's actually 3 of them. That's the same round that we found. Okay. And like I said, the methodology that they use is scientific, and they're telling me, and this is the report, you can read it if you wish.
I don't need to read it.
Okay. I know you mentioned a couple times you don't want to be the fall guy for this. You also mentioned to me the other day when I was telling you, hey, I want to check the property out, make sure there's no damage, and you said, doesn't matter, it's over. You know, you made comments like that to me that really concerned me.
Sure.
Right. It's concerning.
And what I mean by it's over is that you've already started something here that there's no backing out of, so you've done, the damage is done, I guess is what I'm saying. That's what I would have been referring to.
Okay, and I agree with that. And listen to me, Rick, I don't believe you should be the fall guy. But all the evidence, you say you're out there, we have witnesses out there, we have your vehicle, we have experts. We have experts that say that's you on the video and that's your voice on the video.
Okay.
Experts, not me, because I'm not an expert.
I gotcha.
Okay, and now we have your round at the scene.
Okay.
Not on the bridge. You said you're on the bridge.
I don't even know how my bullet would have gotten out there if that's my bullet.
On further entreaty, Alan gets even more defensive and seemingly gives up, trying to make it appear as though everyone is already against him in this regard and portrays himself to be the victim of some sort of witch hunt.
What I'm telling you is, if that is truly what you're saying it is, it's not my round.
You don't have to say that.
I'm done.
Well, I have a warrant for your DNA. For your DNA first. What do you think I have a warrant for? You know I have a warrant. What?
I figure you're going to arrest me. You obviously think I've done it. The damage is done. Go ahead and do what you're going to do.
Okay. I've been so nice to you.
Let's see.
I've been so nice to you.
Oh, yeah, you're being nice. You're trying to get me to confess to something I had nothing to do with.
I'm trying to get you to tell the truth. I'm not trying to trick you. I've thrown out what we have. Most of it.
You assume it's the truth, and it's not.
It has to be the truth.
Even in the face of an imminent arrest with connection to the case and the interrogator listing reasons as to why they believe it is indeed him on the trail who was captured in the video, Alan continues to deny having anything to do with the case. Even as the investigator informs him of the witness account that places him on the trail that day with a gun, even as experts confirm it to be his voice and person in the video captured by Libby, he refuses to acknowledge being part of it in any capacity, and even seems outraged at being suspected.
Them passing you? You're the last person to have contact with Abby and Libby? Your weapon, your gun out of your weapon is...
I've never contacted Abby and Libby. I've never even met them.
That day? Why? Who said
I didn't.
That's all I want to know, is the truth. You're not willing to...
I've told you the truth. Do what you need to do.
Okay. And then let me step out and see. And they'll come in and swab you with it.
That's fine.
Well, I'm trying to help you, but... Alright, I think they got the warrant, so hang on 1 second.
After he is swabbed for a DNA test, Alan laughs and tries to make light of his situation, but the investigator picks up on this and knows they might be onto something.
You just took my DNA.
So what you were telling me out there, it's over, huh?
The damage is done. I don't know.
I'm sorry that you think this is funny and you keep laughing. Maybe it's just a nervous laugh. I don't know, but I'm trying to help you.
Once again, the mental issues that Alan has always faced are brought up, and it is revealed that it has only gotten worse.
And your depression has gotten considerably worse since this incident, which is...
This has been going on for 7-8 years now.
But it's gotten worse since this...
Well, it's gotten really bad.
I could see why. If I had 2 girls, I would get...
Oh my God.
I would have depression too.
Well,
I would have mental issues too.
I'm sure you would.
Living with this.
I'm sure you would. That's your version of the truth. Because it's obviously not...
I'm not making it up.
It's obviously not the truth.
You think I'm making up that we found this round? And
I don't know what you're doing. What I'm telling you is...
I'm not making this up. You and I both know. I'm not lying to you about anything.
For some more time, Alan continues to deny having had anything to do with the case and keeps claiming that it is impossible that a bullet from his gun might have found its way onto the crime scene, but cannot offer a single plausible explanation to acquit himself of the accusations otherwise. Afterwards, when his wife enters the room to speak to him, he seems to calm down for a bit, but still denies everything that he's being suspected of.
They really think I did this. And they want me to believe that I know you know I didn't do this. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but I'm not going to say something that's not true, and I can't explain something that I don't understand. The only way for me to explain it is that I don't know. Because I'm saying it's not possible. There's no way that a bullet from my gun ended up at a murder scene. And I just keep telling you I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain something that isn't possible. But I know, this is what I do know. I know that no bullet from my gun was connected with in any way, shape, or form. And there's no way a bullet from my gun would have been near Abby and Libby's or anything else, because I never even seen those girls. I love you, baby. I don't know what they're trying to do, but I know that that's not what I told you. And I love you. And they're not going to get away with this. This is exactly what I would never want for you.
But once his wife is out of the room, he finally breaks down and openly threatens the investigator in charge.
You're gonna pay for what you're doing to my wife.
What am I doing?
You want to with me, but you leave my wife out of this. Leave me out of it.
No, you're involved in this. You're around there, Rick.
No, it's not.
I can see you're getting pissed off.
And a significantly verbally hostile altercation ensues, wherein Alan still continues to deny any sort of involvement with the case, which brings the interrogation to yet another unsatisfactory conclusion.
Be happy to, because I tried to help you and you wouldn't do it.
Oh, you're helping me.
I'm guilty and I know it, and I'm gonna prove it.
Okay.
And I'm not paying for any of this shit. You're paying. This is on you. This ain't on me. It's on you, Rick. You had your
Soon enough, on October 26th, Alan is taken into custody, and on October 31st, 2 charges of murder are filed against him. In spite of a messy trial procedure, the jury convicted Alan on all charges after 4 days of deliberation on November 11th, 2024, 7 years after the crime took place. He was sentenced to 130 years, 2 consecutive 65-year terms. In prison, psychologists said that Alan's mental condition deteriorated and his depression progressed into a state of psychosis, wherein he would fall prey to hallucinations and suicide ideation. It was in such a dire state when, during a phone call to his wife, Alan confessed to having committed the horrific and inexplicable crime against the two young girls. Moreover, this was not even the only time he had made a confession of such nature.
I need to tell you something anyway.
Okay. Are you sure you want to talk to me over the phone?
I think I have to.
Okay.
I need you to know that I did this.
What? No. No, you didn't, dear. There's no way. There's no way, dear.
Love me.
Monica Walla, the psychologist working with Alan, also testified that he had made a confession in her company, claiming that he had planned on assaulting the girls, but fled before he could commit the horrifying act. And while it might be taken into consideration that Alan was not in the right state of mind when he made those confessions, the evidence against him and the jury's decision cannot be ignored. Richard Allen is currently housed in the Pendleton Correctional Facility while his team of lawyers seek a new trial. In January 2025, his attorneys filed a motion to correct errors, arguing that errors had been made during his trial. The Indiana Court of Appeals has not yet ruled on the motion, and further filings are expected later this year.
She was just such a light to so many people, and I hope that I'm able to do that too.
You never thought about anything like that. And then to have this happen, I still don't know how to do it, how to live without her.
For years, people were left to theorize and speculate, knowing next to nothing, while the families and loved ones connected to Abby and Libby endured unimaginable distress. After countless days of hard work and the combined effort of the police and the community, there is at least some semblance of justice that has prevailed. Today, while nothing can truly heal the loss, there is some peace in knowing that Abby and Libby are finally at peace, and their families have the answers they had been searching for. Their light, their strength, and their memory will never be forgotten.